We're back into the break here, folks, on a Monday, hottest show on the streets. In my own words, appreciating everybody for tuning in on today. Gotta give a shout out to Spencer Reveley, one of our faithful listeners here to the show. Spencer Reveley giving in a $10 donation via the Super Chats. Once again, if you want to give a donation via Super Chats, there's a $ on the bottom part to the right side, bottom part right side of the YouTube chat screen there. You hit that $, and you can make that donation, and it helps us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine get more equipment, keep the site running. It helps the staff here at TDA, and it also helps us continue to give you, what you crave, which is Alabama football. So appreciate the love there from Spencer Reveley donating that $10 in as he nominates Waylon as the president of the YouTube chat. I think Waylon will appreciate that presidency quite well, Spencer. But we're back in from the break here, folks. And we go to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up the man, the legend on the ground in recruiting, that being one Justin Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Justin, man, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good, Steven.
You feeling good, man? I'm feeling great right now. So, Damon Payne on Sunday made the decision to commit to the Crimson Tide, 5-star, defensive lineman out of the state of Michigan. This gives the Crimson Tide, according to, the notes, the plug that you have, or the graphic that you have on the TDA site, this gives the Tide 4 5-star commitments here. And, what sets Payne apart? I know you love his game. You've talked about his game quite a bit, but now that he's made the move to commit, talk more about what sets off Damon Payne to you.
Well, as far as his film is concerned, Damon Payne, what he brings to the table, as I always said, this is an explosive defensive tackle, one of the most explosive defensive linemen in the 2021 recruiting class. But watching his film more and more, I'm really starting to like his ability to get after the ball carrier in terms of how controlled he is on the rush. This is a kid who knows how to control that 6'4", 290-pound frame. It really looks as if he's navigating to get to the ball carrier and get to the quarterback. So I really like that about Damon Payne. But as far as his commitment is concerned, this is massive for the Tide. I know there was a lot of talk about the Tide having the best offensive line class ever for the last couple of weeks now. But now that the Tide has added a 5-star defensive tackle, the conversation will now switch towards how good can this defensive line class be for the Tide 2021 recruiting class. You have Damon Payne. You add him for Anquan Barnes, 3-star defensive tackle out of Montgomery. You also look at the Tide's board with so many other defensive linemen in play. You can just rattle off names looking at guys like Montel Goodwin, Shamar Turner, Shamar Turner, also Shamar Jackson, Corey Foreman, a 5-star defensive end out of California. You can name Mason Smith, the 5-star defensive tackle out of Louisiana. Tim Kenyon III, Birmingham, Alabama product. So it's so many different names still on the Tide's recruiting board when it comes to the defensive line group. And I think we will see some of the Tide's coaching staff attention turn towards that now that you see the offensive line group is pretty much wrapped up. And when you just look at this 2021 recruiting class, we are past the halfway point. We look at how many recruits they have now with 16.
Now, Justin, talk more about the control of Damon Payne, because you've spoken so much about how controlled he is as a rusher, how under control he is as a run stopper. Just dive more into that control. Speak on how he is able to control himself and not run himself out of plays.
Yeah, I think that is something with the way he has been trained. You can tell that this is a kid who really thinks when he's rushing, because it almost looks as if he just stopped rushing at times because he's looking for the football. He makes contact and sticks his head up around the offensive lineman to see where the ball is going. So he has great lateral quickness as well, being able to adjust when he sees where the ball carrier or the quarterback is going. So I really like that about his game. Sometimes you see a lot of defensive linemen get out of control just trying to get to the ball carrier, just scrapping and clawing to get to the ball carrier or the quarterback. So you like to see a guy his size, knowing that he's methodical and just patient when it comes to him rushing after the quarterback or getting after the ball carrier.
Well, folks, if you're just tuning in to the show on a Monday, we got the lead scouting and recruiting analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, one Justin Smith here on the phone line, talking 2021 class for Tide, which includes one 5-star defensive lineman, Damon Payne. But, Justin, another guy has dropped his top 6 list. He dropped it over the weekend, and that's TJ Dudley here. And here's a guy that, when you watch his tape, he's got a lot of that thumping, hard-hitting mentality to him. What did you think of Dudley's top 6 list, and where does the Tide stand with him in terms of hoping to get his commitment at some point?
Well, yeah, T.J. Dudley is a 2022 4-star linebacker out of Montgomery Catholic High School in Montgomery, Alabama. He did drop that top 6, included the Tide, along with some more heavy hitters. When you look at Clemson being included, also Auburn being included as well. 2 teams that I think play a large role in Dudley's recruitment moving forward. But something that I think that is really interesting about him dropping that top 6 is the fact that when I talked to him, he said he dropped that top 6 because of the pandemic. You can see now that the pandemic is not only affecting the 2021 recruiting class, it is also affecting the 2022 class. You have guys who take visits during their junior season of high school who get a chance to get on these campuses for the first time. And this is sometimes the most important visits for guys who want to make a decision before their senior season. They're possibly not going to be able to do that. So you see TJ Dudley, a 2022 kid, releasing that top 6 because he knows that there's a lot of things that are uncertain when it comes to the college football season. And he told me just with his talks with many different coaching staffs, the teams that are recruiting him, he did say that no one knows anything. The coaches don't know when they're going to be able to host any recruits, or if they're going to be able to host any recruits this upcoming season, with that recruiting dead period being extended through August 31st. But I do feel the Tide is in a great position with this 2022 in-state prospect. He told me that he loves the Tide's coaching staff. He loves the way that they coach. So the Tide is in a great position, but I think it's just interesting to me that he dropped that top 6 with him being a 2022 kid because of the pandemic and the impact the coronavirus has had on college football recruiting.
Now, Justin, you and I spoke on this kind of off the air a couple of days ago, and that was, what's the next move here for the Crimson Tide where this class is concerned? It could go defensive back here, where you would have Kyrie Jackson, the JUCO. You would have JaQuincy McKinstry here, Jalen Marshall here, or it could go on the tight end side of things and pick up a very athletic tight end that Saban has talked about. This program kind of needs to bring into the fold. So just from your expertise here on the trail, which position group do you think Alabama actually hits next? Is it the tight end group, or is it the defensive back group again?
Well, I think you have to look at the tight ends and defensive back. Just going back to one of the episodes I had on the process recently, where I broke down what could be next for the Tide, along with Damon Payne. I talked about Kyrie Jackson, who announced that his commitment date will be on August 15th today. I also talked about Robbie Oops, the 3-star tight end out of South Carolina. So I think all of the attention turns to those guys at this moment in terms of guys who could commit to the Tide next. So that is where my attention will go as far as who could commit next to the Tide. But you always have to keep your eyes on guys like JaQuincy McKinstry, who is constantly stating, no matter what interview he does, that it's whenever the moment feels right for him. You also just have to pay attention to a defensive lineman that I've been talking about lately. I think the Tide could try to add some defensive linemen in the next couple of months, and adding them to the group of Payne and Barnes will make this an impressive defensive line group for the Tide in the 2021 recruiting cycle.
Folks, if you're just tuning into the show once again, we got Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, on the line here talking this 2021 class. And Justin, you also mentioned a 2022 wide receiver that's gotten some interest here from the Tide.
Well, I was discussing Taylor Burden, the 2022 5-star wide receiver out of Texas, who is going to make the claim to quite possibly be the number 1 wide receiver in the 2022 class. I got a chance to interview him. You guys check out that article on touchdowналabama.com. When I talked to him, he said he loved everything about the Tide, pretty much, from how they use their wide receivers to his relationship with the coaching staff. He said when they have talked in the past. Their conversations have been great. He has loved his conversation with coaches at the University of Alabama, but not only because they talk about football, because they talk about things outside of the game as well. So Caleb Burden is a guy to pay attention to. As the Tide 2021 recruiting class continues to move forward, the Tide coaching staff has to juggle multiple classes at one time. So you're going to see a lot of more talks and things going on with guys in the 2022 recruiting class moving forward. And I think Caleb Burden will be a name to look out for as far as him being one of the top wide receivers in that 2022 class. Just looking at his film, I think his route running is pretty impressive, and I think it just shows what the college football game, what direction the college football game is going in terms of wide receivers being ready to play straight out of high school.
He's Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, joining us right now to talk the 2021 class and beyond. As Nick Saban not done yet, not messing around, getting these young athletes to commit to the Tide. But Justin, we appreciate your expertise, your insight, you taking time to join us on the show to give us the lowdown in recruiting. You stay safe, take it easy, be good, man.
You do the same, Stephen.
It's always fun talking to Justin here on the recruiting trail. That man is hard at work, scouting, analyzing, breaking down these athletes from A to Z. But we take another break here on the show. Don't touch that down, folks. When we get back, we dive into more of your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your concerns. Bring them on into the conversation table right after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.